want you to think about and observe time like you never have before. I want you to actually think about time from a different point of view. You see, we do think about time on a daily basis, but we tend to do it in segments from the present. Like when we wake up in the morning, we think about what time we have to get up, how much time we have before we leave. Let's say we're waiting for a train, we think about how much time before the train gets there, or if it's late, we're thinking about each minute that the train's late. When we're on our way to work or an appointment, we think about how we have to get there by a certain time, or if we're running late. Time tends to go by quicker when we feel like we're running late. Another situation is when we're at work, we're at an appointment, or even church or school. I know we've all been there where we have the feeling that time is dragging so long because we can't wait for something to be over. Now, other ways we think about time could be from the past or the future. You see, we do have memories of great moments in our lives, or even bad moments, where we think about every now and again, and we wonder if there's anything we could have done differently, or if there's anything that could have changed. Or sometimes we just absorb those feelings and just remember how great they were. When we think about things in the future, we tend to think about things that we're excited or anticipating that we have coming up. Like a date, it could be a vacation, a nice Friday night out with friends that you have planned, things like that. Or if you're nervous about something coming up in the future, like a presentation or things like that. See, so we do think about time from different points of views in our lives, but when we tend to see time for what it is as a whole and kind of zoom out a little bit and see where we are, we generally tend to be surprised. Now, I know we've all been there before, where we're having a situation with someone that we know or we don't know too well, and then one of us realizes what date it is, and one person will say, "Wow, I can't believe how fast this year is going by," or something along those lines. And that pretty much happens all the time. I feel like, well, right now it's December 2019, and I feel like this has been the fastest year of my life. So I want you to think about this. Let's think about a minute, just 1 minute. And let's say you're doing something for a minute. You will be very conscious throughout that minute of what you're doing and basically the time of a minute. Now let's extend that minute out to 30 minutes. You have a 30-minute time frame. You're doing something throughout those 30 minutes. 1 minute isn't going to make as a significant difference as it was when you're just dealing with 1 minute specifically by itself. Or how about we stretch that out to an hour? Let's say you plan to meet someone in an hour and they show up an hour and 1 minute late, or 1 minute early. That 1 minute isn't going to really be pretty much insignificant at that point. It doesn't really make a difference. Let alone if we extend that hour out to 24 hours, a minute is pretty much negligible at that point. Now the same thing with minutes can also apply to years as well. Here's a hypothetical scenario. Let's say you're in the courtroom and the judge says he's giving you 2 years in jail for something that you've done, and then he notices something else on your record, and then he attaches another year on top of that. That third year will have a significant impact on how you feel. 2 years to 3 years is a big difference. Now let's look at another scenario where instead of you initially getting 2 years from a judge, the judge is saying you're getting 15 years. Now with that 15 years, he knows there's something else on your record, and he says he's going to give you another year on top of that. So now you have 16. That 16 years is going to sound terrible. The extra year adding on to those 15 years will, not be great, but that extra year is not going to be nearly as significant or impactful as adding on a year to 3 years. So as you can see how time works with months, minutes, weeks, etc., things like that, it also applies to years. So as you continue to live and time goes by on your life as a whole, the years continue to go by quicker, slowly by slowly, little by little. Same thing goes down to weeks, days, things like that. So, what is the point of all this? Well, I'm letting you know about that so that you can be more urgent and more aware of your time. You see, a lot of people think that they have all the time in the world to get things done. I know for me, I've been there before where I think about how if I actually stuck with something and stayed at it consistently, I could be done by now, or at least have more progress in something. And I know we've all done that before, even you. I mean, I've done it multiple times this year. So when we start to realize how quickly time is going by, we will be more appreciative of our time in the present, and we'll be more in the moment. You see, when we realize how quickly the present is going to pass us, it'll allow us to really soak up and absorb the great times that we have in our lives, and also to maximize our potential and abilities when we use our time. So it will help us use our times more efficiently, and also really having this mindset can really prolong your life, because when you're more aware of how much little time you have from an earlier age, you will be more present, more focused, more productive, and you will get the most out of your time on a daily basis. You see, most people say life is short, but they say those things after a significant event has happened, or they say it later on in life where it's getting too late for them to realize how much time has passed. So by doing this from an earlier age, in a sense, you are prolonging your life. Now, technically you're not, because time is going by at the same pace. But from your point of view, you will be more present and more focused in the moment throughout your life. So I hope you could take that from this video, use it to benefit yourself and others, and I'll see you in the next one.